Well, hello again, everybody. This is John Norris of Trading Perspectives. As always, we've got our good friends, Sam Clement and Courtney Trush. Y'all say hello.
How's it going?
Hey, John.
Hey, guys. Guys, you know something? This week, I really thought maybe my career was ending.
Yeah, I did too. I thought last Friday was saying my final goodbyes to you.
Well, I really thought, and maybe this Tuesday as well, I really thought that maybe, I was going to win the lottery.
Yep. Your luck had finally changed.
My ship was coming in, whatever you want to say. This past weekend, after no one won the Mega Millions Powerball on Friday, I drove over to Georgia from my little cabin in the woods, and I bought some hot dog buns, Fritos, and 10 Mega Millions tickets. I figured to myself, that's the most I've ever bought in Mega Millions tickets. I just felt good, man. I felt like I had my mojo going on, and then all of a sudden, Wednesday morning comes around, I take a look at my tickets. I think out of the 10 tickets I had maybe 3 numbers in total and all that stuff. And I realized, Sam, I don't mind telling you this, I think I just wasted some money.
I think you did too. Definitely wasted some money.
And so this begs the question.
Someone has to win, John.
Someone does have to win. Isn't that the case? So, I mean, the thing about it is, here we are. This is going to be a topic of major discussion here this week. If no one wins Mega Millions coming up, no one wins it, all that stuff, until we get to billions of dollars, which I think the next drawing already is. It just kind of begs the question, are lotteries worth it? And what's the role that they should play? And frankly, at some point, we're going to talk about what you would do if you actually won the lottery. And it's probably going to be more of a conversation between me and Courtney, because I admitted right now that I am a complete fool with my money. Bought $20 worth of Powerball, Mega Millions tickets this past weekend. Sam, if memory serves, you've never bought a lottery ticket in your life.
I bought some right when I was legally allowed to, living in Georgia, and I think that was the last time. And, you know, back then, especially at that age, $10 or whatever I spent on it was a hell of a lot of money. So I did not feel good about wasting my money then, and that, I think, was the last time I've done it. I've kind of been lotteried out since then, so I will not be taking part.
And Courtney, you would never be so foolish as to buy a lottery ticket, would you?
I would, but I am typically the person that just buys one. Just one.
You're not giving yourself great odds then.
No, but it's still better than yours if you don't buy any.
I guess so. But
yeah, if I'm not mistaken, the odds of winning all of them are something like 1 in 302,500,000.
very minuscule.
Yeah, so I mean
That's right.
Courtney, I can't even pronounce this. That is, the percentage is 6 zeros and a 3. So really, when you're buying a lottery ticket, Courtney, you're flushing your money down the toilet.
Yes, but there's still that 1 in 302.5 million chance that I could win.
So, so I guess what you're saying is someone's got to win it.
Someone has
It
got to
might
win
as
it.
well be Courtney Truss.
Why not?
Why not? So, are you going to figure out a way to get some tickets? Because, I mean, if you're listening to this, we are in central Alabama, and Alabama is one of,
Right.
3 or 4 states that doesn't have a state lottery for a number of different reasons. I'm not going to get into it. It's kind of silly because I know plenty of people that are going across state lines here this week and dumping a whole bunch of cash. Mile marker number 5 on I-20, of whatever it is on heading north on 65, I-10. People will be flooding the convenience stores in Georgia, Tennessee, and Florida, spending untold probably millions of dollars. And it kind of begs the question, it's just like, are people doing this, in your estimation, Sam and Courtney, are they doing it more out of desperation, more for fun, or more for fantasy?
Well, I think in people's heads and how human nature works, no one's running the numbers of, you know, how much I'm losing if I pay for these and get nothing out of it versus how much I win, and then, you know, the odds, and you can multiply that out, and your expected outcome, typically not pretty good. No one's doing that. You know, the value add that they would get from this small chance and even this thought of winning it is typically more than they are paying, whether it's $1, $5, $10, $20 worth. I think a lot of people, that's even just a little bit of entertainment to talk about over the next week until it gets drawn.
Isn't fun and fantasy kind of the same thing?
Ordinarily, I guess. I don't know.
Deeper
Yeah, I think
question.
that's a much deeper question. A topic for another podcast, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we have family going down to Florida, and I've already told them to purchase some tickets, so.
Now, let me ask you this one. Let's say you give someone $10 to purchase a Mega Millions ticket, and they come back and they win, but they give you your ticket and say, sorry, buddy, you lose. How would that impact your relationship with those people?
But don't you pick the numbers for this?
You
No,
can,
you
I think,
can.
but
Oh, or you can just pick they pick a random.
I think so.
You don't sound like you're an expert on the lottery.
I'm not. I live in the state of Alabama, as you already said, that doesn't have the lottery.
Now, I've got to tell you, Sam, it's the chances of winning are very small.
Yep.
It is literally flushing money down the toilet until you get to a certain point.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I
We're
have
there.
done the math of it. We are there. And
Yeah.
you can tell I've got some numbers in front of me. So, if there is a 1 in 302,500,000 chance of winning the lottery, and that's 1-1, for a $2 chance, you need to have the cash value of the lottery in order, just doing your statistics,
Yep.
weighted averages, all that good stuff. The cash value of every $2 ticket needs to be at least $605 million.
We're there.
We're just short. We're at $602,500,000 as of this morning. Here we are on Wednesday. What is it? The 27th, 28th?
Yeah.
It's the 27th. And so we're almost there. So we're almost at a point where you are ambivalent buying a $2 ticket. That's just the way the math works. Courtney, when you're figuring out whether or not to give money to people to buy a lottery ticket to you down in Florida, are you running the numbers like this?
No, and I still am not sure I follow you completely.
I'm following you.
I mean, it's $2, John.
But as someone, I'm not a fan of participating in the lottery, but I'm a massive fan of lotteries and some state lotteries and what they do. I mean, going to high school in the state of Georgia and the scholarships there that are provided through the lottery, it is fantastic. It's genius. People who want to throw their money away get to do it and then fund education for
You're
people to
welcome.
hopefully be smarter
welcome.
and not do it the next time.
Yeah. You're welcome from all of the people in
But I mean,
Alabama that help fund your education.
Fund college education for a majority of the students in the state of Georgia, and it keeps them in the state. It is a fantastic idea and a fantastic program. So I don't personally
Contribute.
partake in it, but I'm glad that people
You reap
do.
the benefits.
Yeah. Well,
So-
I actually didn't. I went out of the state for college.
So what you're saying is a lottery is really nothing more than a form of voluntary taxation.
Yeah, on not the best intelligence, maybe.
I really don't get why you're so cynical on it, because isn't it? I mean, do you ever?
Isn't Sam the most cynical Gen Z
so
you've ever seen?
cynical. I mean, I guess, don't you ever fantasize, like, if you were to win, what would you do with that much money? Okay, so if you win at the, what is it, 1 billion, 1.02 billion. So if you cash out, you're at $602.5 million.
I like the way you put the inflection on the million.
Yeah.
Million.
Million.
Like,
It's like Austin
Dr. Evil.
Powers.
Yes. I mean, like, do you not play? Because there's no chance of you winning if you don't buy $1-2 ticket. But even if it's so minute, someone does win.
That doesn't really excite me. That thought.
You must
of-
not
of-
like
of-
chocolate or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I mean, the fact
I
that
like
the
the
golden
original
ticket.
one.
Well, I mean, I kind of play into it. I think of all of the things that I would be able
Even
to
the
do with
scary
that much
ride down
money.
the Chocolate River, you like that?
Sure, yeah.
No, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No,
Talk
no,
over
I brought that up.
you. So what are you saying?
No, we can talk about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and the golden ticket.
but kind of interrupting Courtney just overly mightily, and I'm really sorry about
No.
that. I've never done that before, I don't think.
It's the first time.
Yeah, it's the first time, and it probably will be the last time, because I'm sure I'll hear of it after this. I was so certain, Courtney, yesterday, and talking about fantasy, and can't you even just kind of think about it?
Yeah.
Willy Wonka, all that stuff, and just delve into Obviously, Sam is a very pragmatic person, probably the most cynical member of his generation.
Yes,
all
his
of it. Just
entire
generation.
by the books.
Realist.
I'm going to dot the I's and cross the T's. Yesterday, I was so certain that I was going to win the lottery. I sent out an email to select friends and family, well, not very many family members here at the office, but select associates, friends, and all that stuff. And Courtney, I sent this to you, and I mean, you even responded to it. And I
Yes, I did.
think you called me a fool or something along those lines. I said, gang, if I don't make it into the office tomorrow morning, it'll be because I've won an $810 million lottery. Obviously, this will have a negative impact on both my work ethic and my work schedule. On the flip side, if I am in the office tomorrow morning, it's because I've been very foolish with my money and essentially flushed it down the toilet.
Looks like the latter was the case.
I certainly did. I'm not getting that money back. But I got to tell you, kind of going to what Courtney was talking about, again, with the Willy Wonka, Gene Wilder is much better than Johnny Depp in that regard, I would say.
Yes.
Because Depp's just kind of strange. But that's beside the point. I have had, in my estimation, and then Sam, this is where you're going to think it foolish because you're very pragmatic and all that stuff. Very pragmatic, very dot the I's, cross the T's. I've had $20 worth of fun thinking about what I was going to do with the money. And, for long years I would say I'm going to share with my sister, my parents, all that stuff. Nonsense. This time I was finally honest with myself. I said I'm going to cut it up between my direct family members, set up 2 trusts for the kids, put a quarter of it into Annie's, quarter of it into John's, and then Beth and I are going to take the rest of it and I'm going to go out and buy a new Volkswagen.
Of course.
And that's
really getting fancy.
And that's what I was going to do with it. But outside of really kind of doing, this is going to show you what kind of a dork I am, outside of doing some estate planning in my head, and kind of getting down the weeds and talking with my buddy Jay, who's my attorney,
like
and
a lot of fun for
$20. Well, it's my head started hurting after a while. Outside of that, I didn't really have a bunch of stuff that I was actually going to do with the money. Surprisingly enough. Now, Courtney, you're younger. You're Gen X. You're Gen Y, something millennial.
Yeah.
What would you do with all that money if you were to win?
Well, Sam and his cynical self has already criticized the way that I said that I would.
I did.
You know what I think's first on the list?
What?
You know it.
The creamer.
Creamer.
Yeah. I'm gonna clear out every Walmart of my creamer.
And then also, of course,
the sausage.
Sausage.
Yeah.
That our family likes.
So once I've got life supply of both of those things, definitely I would quit work. There would be no reason to work because you wouldn't need to manage all of your money.
Well, it's like I've noticed something. There's might be a lack of core values here. We need to talk about this type of stuff.
Yeah. And then I was telling Sam, I was like, well, I'd create a foundation because everyone's going to be asking you for money. Everyone's going to be saying that their cause is most important. So I would want a structure behind, being able to disseminate that certain amount of money that I put into the foundation.
And how much would that be?
At least, I guess, $100 million.
Say.
Very generous.
That is very generous.
I don't know. We could.
Nice tax write-off.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And then I said I wouldn't move. I'd fix up our house, but it's been in our family, so there's no.
That was my pushback.
Yeah.
I said you wouldn't move.
And then I said I wouldn't. To your point, I was like, well, I would help eliminate debt of my family, but I don't know that I would just give them money. I'm not saying I wouldn't, but Sam was like, you wouldn't give your parents and you wouldn't give your sister, and I'm like, I'm not saying I wouldn't, but I guess I just don't initially think that I would just give money to all my relatives.
The thing is, that sounds well and good, all that stuff, Courtney. I'm going to tell you the first thing you're going to do if you win the lottery.
I'm going to hide.
Well, no, first thing you're going to purchase, not hide. First thing you're going to purchase is a new car, and I know darn well that is exactly number one on the list.
Yeah, I probably would. I would purchase a new car, and I would pay cash for everything because interest rates are too high, obviously, because you have it.
Listen to this.
Or just because you're
have that much money.
richer than the Rockefellers.
Yeah. So true.
So you wouldn't pay off all of Krista's debt, all that stuff?
No, I would. I'd pay off debt. I'm just saying that I don't think I would give. Sam's basically saying that he would give people millions of dollars each.
Would you?
Yeah, I'd give my direct family. That's buying them a nice meal out currently.
Where are you going to dinner?
I'm saying
that inflation, John.
The percentage that I'd be giving out now to taking someone to a nice dinner to give them $1 million if I'm worth $600+ million. It's not really stretching that much, but talking about quitting work.
But that goes against your lifetime exemption and all that stuff.
I don't think I'm too worried about that at $600+ million. If I am, I'm
stingy.
Yeah, stingy. But everyone talks about quitting work, and I think that is something that a lot of people do. But I think in reality, you see people that win these lotteries that end up, people blow it. People have depression issues after. You see all these horrible stories of people that won tons of money, and it's the same thing that goes back to saying money can't buy happiness. And while that is true, money helps things, but everybody needs something to focus on and needs something to work towards achieving. And a lot of rich people turn that into letting their kids run a foundation, giving them something to do, even if you don't need a job, you still have to have something to do. And I think that's something that I would probably be doing if I did somehow win $600 million without buying a ticket. So
basically what you're saying is, that's an old expression grandmothers used to use, and I can't remember it now because I'm not a grandmother. Something about the devil in idle hands and all that stuff, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So what you're saying is, if you don't have anything to work for and nothing to strive for, you're going to become lazy, and that's when bad stuff happens. And you see
people that don't win the lottery, but people who have worked so hard towards retirement, and then they retire and have nothing to do, and then they're just not happy anymore.
And then they're dead.
Yeah, but money can't buy happiness, but it can buy a lot of cool stuff that would probably help make me a little happier. I could buy a pretty sweet boat with $600 million.
Sam already knows exactly where he'd buy houses as well.
Where would you buy a house?
I'd buy a house in South Beach. I'd buy a house in California, Hawaii, and Jackson Hole. I don't fly my G650 from one to the other.
I don't hear Alabama in there anywhere.
It's not in there. I'd probably have something here, I guess, if people I loved were still here. But who knows? Maybe I buy them houses in those other places.
He was like, well, because I was like, I don't want to move all my family's here. And he was like, well, I would just move them. I'd get them houses everywhere. And I'm like, but what if they don't want to move? And your success shouldn't mean that they quit.
I don't have that concern.
Well, actually, I figured my sister would be pretty annoyed, and my brother-in-laws would be pretty annoyed if we won all this money and didn't share some of the large house.
Right.
So instead of buying houses, what I would do is I would go in jointly and buy a house, take out a mortgage, strangely enough, in both of our names, Brooke's name, my name, and then we'll set up a joint checking account with, I'll put the money in and she'll cut the checks out of it. That way, I'm going to be gifting her half of a nice house, and then I'll just write the rest of it over to her, and IRS doesn't know a damn thing about it.
Yeah, well, you just told it on a podcast, so now they're in there.
My chances of winning the lottery again are 1 in 302 million.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be worried about that. I wouldn't worry about.
No, listen, you don't have to be worried about Brooke getting upset with you.
But is it ever enough?
It's all your problem.
Is it ever enough? Like, will she think that that's enough if you have $602 million and all you do is?
I don't think that's John's problem.
Well, I know that, but I feel like when you say that people get upset or that they have this depression, is it because people are greedy and then think they're greedy for not giving all their money away?
No, I think it's because they lack any sort of drive or purpose anymore. Yeah. And
I would be someplace. I would probably be pretty generous with my nieces and nephews, my brother-in-laws and sister, and all that stuff. Use all my exemption on them because I would have already set up trust for my kids, because they would be co-owners of the ticket and all that stuff. So that's where my exemption would go to.
I would run a family office. I think that'd be fun.
You would trust your children with close to $200 million each?
Trust the trustee, I guess.
I'd trust the trustee, who would be me. And so we'd set it up where, wouldn't even claim the ticket until after we got a tax ID for the trust. And so the trust would be 1/4 owner. And I'd write into the trust all the various stipulations and all that stuff. So instead of just giving them a bunch of money outright, it'd be drips and drabs, and then once I'm dead, they can do whatever they want with it. That's the way I feel.
But $150 million.
Who else deserves it?
Well, I'm not saying that they don't deserve it, but you kind of look at Bill Gates and stuff like that, where people, they don't necessarily just give it to their children. You were just born into, the right family or a lucky family.
But they're also talking about, that's someone who's worth tens of billions of dollars.
Yeah.
There's still nuance to the issue when you go from 100 million to billions. There's lifestyle changes from those two levels.
And then with the money that
can't even imagine.
Then with the money Beth and I would have, that's where I would create the family foundation.
I would run a family office, I think. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
You'd be wealthy enough to have a family office. I love what I do and do some kind of investments and just who cares if I lose a little bit?
The thing about it, since you don't buy lottery tickets, I'll hire you to do that for me.
Fair enough.
He wants $1 million a year.
What's so funny to me,
I'm not paying that.
is talking about this, and this is obviously a ton of money, but then you see some people like Gates, like Elon Musk, who have hundreds times more than this.
It's not realized.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It's hard to fathom. This is money that I think everybody in this office would agree would be enough for them to quit their job. Like, they would quit their job unless they loved working or something. Obviously,
we might not have to get to a cash value of $602 million for a lot of people.
You get
what
I'm saying? People would drastically change their lives. They'd quit working. They would do all these kinds of things, and yet that's still.
The thing is, I am not sure if I would completely quit working. I enjoy doing what I do, and you're absolutely right. People need to have something to keep their mind on, and particularly old men. I mean, it's just something to keep your mind on, and so I would figure out something where I'm still working here at Oakworth or what have you. Maybe not have the same schedule and responsibilities, but I would still be here doing this, probably doing podcasts, common sense, all that stuff. But
just a different perspective.
Just a different
millionaire
perspective.
Your helicopter on the roof.
No, just stuff like that. Yeah, for the 4-mile journey from my house and all that stuff. I would continue to work because, I'm not just sitting there saying that. I would, because I would need the structure in my life. If I didn't have the structure, and if I didn't have something to keep my mind occupied, I'd go crazy.
Yeah, and I feel like if maybe I were more in your stage of life.
Okay.
If I didn't have
Careful.
young
Tread lightly here.
If I didn't have everyone's going to think I insult you literally every podcast. I don't mean to.
Well, I insult you, so it works out nicely.
Yeah. So, but it's more of like if my children were young, if I was an empty nester, then I do think I would need fulfillment, and I don't think I would just want to quit. I get a lot of. I enjoy working, but definitely would want to cut back my hours. Wouldn't want to have to be here. Like if I want to travel or go to Europe for a month, it would be nice to be able to do that.
I mean,
kind of sounds like Mindy Kaling from The Office, saying she'd win the lottery and work for $1, but she wouldn't work real hard because she's only getting paid $1.
You mean Kelly Kapoor? Yeah. There you go. So, all right, Courtney. If just bottom line, here we are at the end of this podcast. Huge lottery coming out. Tell me, huge payout. One thing that you could buy. One thing only. The rest of it you can do foundations, all that stuff. First thing you'd buy would be what?
I mean, it probably would be a really nice. This is going to sound awful as a mom of a bunch of kids, but I mean, I would probably get either a really nice minivan or a Suburban.
Oh my goodness!
But it's true. I got to fill all of them. That would be.
Just
those are
like
so expensive.
6 babysitters.
All right, Sam. You're not buying a lottery ticket.
I'm buying a 72-foot Viking yacht. That's the first thing I'm buying.
Where are you going to put it? I mean, you're going to have it where your house is?
Sure. But the first thing, I'll buy the boat first.
There you go. I am going to go out and buy everyone's respect. Might not work, and once the money's gone, we'll go back to the way things have been for decades, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy everyone's respect. That and I'll probably get a new car. Something like this people will call baloney on this, if baloney's the right word. Probably get something like a Ford, I mean not a Ford, but a 4Runner. Something like that. Nice tricked out interior. Tricked out interior as much as you can be.
John, you could get that now. There's nothing holding you back from getting that now. You don't need 100.
I am so cheap. I am so cheap when it comes to cars and stuff like that. I don't like spending money on them. So it prompts probably something like that. Maybe I don't know, like go all nutty and get a Land Cruiser. I'm not sure. Well, with that, guys, we always love to hear from you. Also, if you have any comments or questions, please, by all means, let us know. You can always drop us a line at tradingperspectives@oakworth.com, or you can leave us a review on the podcast outlet of your choice. As always, if you're interested in hearing more, reading more of what we have to say or how we think, please, by all means, go to oakworth.com and take a look underneath the Thought Leadership tab for all kinds of exciting information. Guys, one last chance to talk about the lottery.
That's all I got.
That's it, John.
That's all I've got today, too. Y'all take care.